Iran's top clerical assembly has reportedly agreed on a new supreme leader to succeed the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The new leader is yet to be announced, but Israel has vowed to target the new chief as well as other leaders of the Islamic Republic. The Israeli military has launched strikes on Iranian fuel depots and oil infrastructure for the first time in the 9-day war, blanketing Tehran in thick smoke. Iran's foreign ministry has called the attacks a war crime and accused Israel of poisoning its citizens.
Toxic smoke darkens the sky in Tehran after Israel launched attacks on several oil storage sites in the capital. It's the first time Iran's oil infrastructure has been targeted in the war. Iran's foreign ministry called the strikes chemical warfare. Residents were told to stay indoors as the fumes can cause damage to the eyes and lungs. With the war in its second week, Israel's prime minister has warned he will strike Iran's rulers without mercy. He offered amnesty to those who surrender.
We have an organized plan with lots of surprises to undermine the regime and enable change. We have many more targets, but I won't go into detail here. To Iran's revolutionary guards, those who oppress the Iranian people on the street, I tell you this, you are a target too. Anyone who lays down their arms won't be harmed.
But the Revolutionary Guards say they can sustain an intense war against Israel and the U.S. for 6 months. Iran launched missiles that landed in a field in southern Israel, while Iran's missiles over Tel Aviv were intercepted. In an interview, Iran's security chief warned Washington against repeating the past.
The people of Iran have seen the experience of U.S. intervention in the region. You intervened in Iraq. What happened to the people in Iraq? You intervened in Afghanistan. The people of Iran were watching. You are not concerned about Iranians.
Iran's clerics say they have agreed on a new supreme leader after U.S. and Israeli forces killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in February. But Iranian officials say they're taking precautions before announcing the new leader.
However, as you know, current circumstances are difficult and obstacles remain. This work must be carried out with the utmost rigour in order to avoid any dispute. In addition to the need not to waste time, it is also important to demonstrate precision.
Israel has vowed to kill Khamenei's replacement, and the U.S. says the war will only end once all of Iran's rulers have been wiped out.
Well, as we heard in that report, Iran says it will take precautions in sharing the name of its new leader. But how can a leader lead if they're hidden away in secret? I put that question to Shahin Modarres, an International Security Analyst with the Monitoring Jihadism Project.
Well, what we need to consider about this is that within the system of the Islamic Republic, the fraction that has been responsible for the safety and security of the so-called supreme leader of the system, Ali Khamenei, who was killed during the U.S.-Israeli attacks, is a fraction of the IRGC called Sepah Wali Amr. We are talking about a specially designated fraction of the IRGC terrorists that were responsible for the life of Ali Khamenei. And they have had the most advanced, sophisticated security protocols within the system of the Islamic Republic. And the moment that Khamenei was eliminated, we could say clearly that this has been broken, that the paradigm, the security paradigm that they were trying to follow and that they were trying to protect other people by it, people of the Islamic Republic, I mean, like the president and the supreme leader and the ministers and also the commanders standards is now broken. Because of this being broken, and considering that it was the highest level of security that the Islamic Republic could have provided, we can clearly say now that each and every member of the Islamic Republic that now lives is because they are allowed to live. It's not like they can hide. Now, this next leaders being elected but not yet declared is exactly because of this. They know that this person will be right away eliminated by the US and Israeli attacks, and they are trying to elongate this because apparently the option that they have chosen is not that different from Ali Khamenei.
Okay, so I understand the reasoning behind it, but how is it possible for a supreme leader to actually lead a country if everyone in Iran or nobody in Iran knows who that supreme leader is?
That's the problem for the Islamic Republic. As it appears in a short time, eventually they have to declare who this chosen person is. But even after that, I believe that they will not allow the person, the next supreme leader, as they call it, to be on ground. I mean, literally, that person will be hiding and will try to lead the Islamic Republic through a hiding. But as you mentioned, there is no other way. Eventually, the name should come out.
Shahin Modarres, thank you for breaking that down for us here on DW. Great to have you with us. Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by DW's Middle East analyst, Shani Rozanes. Shani, hi, Israel has warned that it would target any figure that was chosen to replace Ali Khamenei. But what's the strategy behind this?
Well, for Israel, it's very clear. Anybody connected with the Ayatollah regime, with the current regime in Iran, is just not relevant. They don't want to see anybody connected to the regime staying in power. They're not, clearly, the Americans are either not putting regime change on their list of achievements, but the message that they're saying is very clear. They also probably very much enjoy the idea of terror and fear among Iranian leaders and among Iranian leadership in general, and showing the might that they have. So Israel is aiming for even if there might be a pragmatic leader or whatever, there's no such thing as if you listen to Israel and what they want, there is no way for anybody associated with the current regime to be a good enough choice. They don't trust them. They don't trust that they will not try to pursue rebuilding the ballistic and nuclear systems. So this is where they are, and they're sending this message clear and loud, also with their bombs, every day in Tehran for 9 days now.
And the US is obviously also involved. Donald Trump has said that he wants to be involved in picking Iran's new leader. But how is that going to work? Is that even a possibility?
Well, he thinks it is. The Iranians on the other side are very defiant. Arakchi, Pezeshkian, leaders in Iran say it's nobody's business. It's our internal process. And it's also part of, whoever it is going to be. Why are they first letting us know they chose somebody before announcing the name? They want to say we are on track. This country is functioning. The leadership is functioning. We know what we're doing. But we have some, delays. We need to, because these are crazy times. So please bear with us. Basically, trying to signal that the system is in place and it's operating. It's an important message for those who support the regime, but even more important message for those who are, against the regime and would like to oppose the regime, saying, we're here, we're not going anywhere. The Americans would like to have a more pragmatic leader, but we need to understand, history have taught us, anybody who will be acceptable on the Americans is probably never going to be accepted and welcome by the people, even those who are oppressed, or opposition to the Iranian current Islamic regime. They want to have their independence. They want to have their sovereignty. Anybody who will be picked by the West probably will have his days also very limited and his success very limited.
Okay, and we are now 9 days in. We potentially have a new development. Reports are coming through that the UAE has joined in the attacks, reportedly targeting desalination facilities in Iran. If this is confirmed, would that not be a major escalation?
Well, what we're hearing from the UAE is that they are determined to protect their own interests and are busy in self-defense. So what the message that they're telling us, even without knowing if this had happened or not, is that we save the right to protect ourselves, but they don't try to bring bigger escalation. And we got to understand that the reluctance in which we are seeing the response from the Gulf countries connects very much to the geography of the region. You know, these are countries that are very close to Iran, much smaller in their, you know, in their maybe not in their economic might, but in their number of citizens. I mean, how many, you know, people that have actual Qatari or Bahraini or you know, Emirati, you know, citizenship, they know that whatever happens after Trump is done with this war, they're still there. And Iran is a giant country. And, you know, they have seen the might and the aggression of Iran in the past. They're very much afraid that, you know, even if they trust Trump all the way to back them, which not all of them do, they don't know what happens when Trump is gone. And they stay there and Iran stay there, and they would need to live with this threat. And so they have no, you know, real intention in escalating and crossing some lines that will, you know, will open this tap and make it an endless war. They would like to see, you know, things come down as soon as possible, but at the same time, they do want to save face. They do want to show defiance, inner defiance to their own people, because they have spent a lot of money on weaponizing themselves and building defense systems, but also, you know, for Iran saying we are not complete pushovers. But, you know, eventually they will live with the consequences long after, you know, Trump is gone. That's what they're fearing, at least.
DW's Shani Rozanes, it's great to always have your analysis here with us in the studio.